Hi, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and today I'm going to talk about two topics. We're going to ask what the Fblthp is going on with Zendikar delays, and the list. For those of you who didn't know, and this is the first you're hearing about it, that Zendikar Rising is delayed, well, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Wizards of the Coast done an official announcement, so we've got problems akin or similar to Jumpstart coming up. They said, and I quote, "The initial allocation of Zendikar Rising will be arriving in North America locations in two waves. The first wave will be at the intended launch date of September 25th. The second wave will arrive in stores 7 to 10 days after the first wave's launch. As a result, some locations may experience limited availability until the second wave arrives. Additionally, Zendikar Rising bundles in North America and Asia Pacific region will be delayed and will arrive in stores as soon as possible, though they are unlikely to be available at launch." They also went on to mention that Commander Legends will be delayed from, where's the dates here? It should be out on November 20th, but no, the Commander Legends Collectors Boosters will be out on the 20th, while the rest of it will come out normally, so the Collectors Boosters will come out later, which means, I don't know, I guess some of the foilings and stuff might hold a higher value because they'll be harder to get hold of, especially if those are delayed any further past that 20th. Let's talk about the language used for a moment. Wizards of the Coast are very deliberate about the language they use. I've spoken about this in videos before, and this time around they're using very definitive language to explain themselves. There will be a first wave and a second wave within 7 to 10 days later. That's not a should be, or a could be, or possibly. They're saying there will be. So really, the second wave, according to Wizards, being very particular here, and if they're not, this could lead to, I guess, lawsuits and stuff, 7 to 10 days later. So don't get too doom and gloom about this just yet. The other great thing about the announcement is that they mentioned Jumpstart, which is good. Finally, regarding Jumpstart, we expect to have updates on these shipments very soon, and we'll share that information as soon as possible. Or should I say, they said as soon as we are able, they said. This is good from my perspective because it means they're not just letting previous releases that had issues disappear into the aether as we course on through the release schedule. Whether this is just placating us, saying they'll let us know when they will, and then Jumpstart will be out of print before everyone's got all they need. Because don't forget, we're talking about Zendikar Rising here and the delays there, but many places didn't ever really get any Jumpstart at all. I literally tweeted today asking non-North American users and followers if they got it, and overwhelmingly the answer was simply no or nope or don't be fucking stupid. Now, Zendikar Rising delays are a little bit more, I don't know, dramatic or extreme than Jumpstart in terms of what they will do to Magic's ecology and the game on the whole, because this next set, Zendikar Rising, is an important set because it is the post-rotation set. So as sets jump out of standard as the new one comes out, this is the one that will help populate standard with cards. That said, I don't really know why anyone cares that much because no one's really playing Paper Magic. There are parts of the world where you can play Paper Magic, but on the whole, especially, well, I guess North America, different parts, different rules, right? But here in the UK, you can't sit down to play Magic. There will be no pre-releases, for example. So everyone's playing on Arena, so from a player perspective, it doesn't hurt that bad. There will be some people that will be affected by this far more than the average player, that being the stores. I'm going to come to that more in a moment. Part of me wonders that once we come to the end of this global health crisis and things return to some semblance of prior normality within Magic and we actually have events again, if and when, if certain cards will hold some price memory or just scarcity issues due to a lack of the cards getting into people's hands through delays, a lack of production and distribution, meaning that cards from the pandemic time might have some sort of weird premium on them. Imagine this, it's the year 2025. You will be hobbled around a campfire in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, heating an irradiated Tory fillet cut from the gullet of a politician upon a fire in front of you. Flicking through a trade binder, a member of your group is sat beside you holding the only working cell phone in your survivor group. This phone is like a holy relic. It's the last connection to the wider world, and you charge it every evening off of a potato battery. You point a dirtied finger at a copy of Jace Mirror Mage as you want one for your kicker-themed Niv Mizzet Draco Genius EDH deck. It isn't your favourite commander deck, but it's the only one you saved from the radiation fires during the uprisings of 2022. You pause, tentatively with bated breath, awaiting a price from your friend. They wiggle the phone in the air, hoping to catch a stray 5G signal ray. You see your friend's arm shake as they do this. You can't tell if it's from malnutrition or from fear. It's rumoured that an errant 5G signal can take a hand clean off if you catch it at the wrong angle. Some time passes, the fire crackles, and finally your friend perks up. They've got the signal, they look, they type it in. $48, apparently, they whisper through dried, cracked lips. Oh fuck, that's a lot, you think to yourself. He can tell though that you're being hesitant, and then they smile a reassuring yet evidently quite unhappy smile. They say, it's a pandemic mythic. The price memory's pretty rough on those, I'm sorry. There's a pause and the fire crackles. You begin to laugh. Well, the real problem is the economy post-Brexit. I mean, I don't know if I have the bottle caps to spare and my trade binder's pretty empty. Suddenly, a commotion from behind you, the rustling of leaves, the snapping of twigs. You grab your blade and shield that's fashioned from an old bus stop sign and stand tall, puffing out your chest, a primal defensive mechanism. Who goes there, you cry? From behind the rubble of a destroyed Greggs the Baker's comes a dishevelled Royal Mail postal worker. They're still wandering the landscape since the postal service was privatised. They raid the caravans of the big postal industry convoys in an attempt to hold on to the world, the old world, the only thing they knew, the delivery of the mail at a satisfactory pace. The postal worker holds out a package in bloodied hands. Oh shit, you exhale, your weapon falling to your side in disbelief. Is that my Jumpstart pre-order box? So the public are understandably frustrated by all these delays, and people talking about how there's going to be a bit of a shit show. And honestly, I'm a little bit out of the loop when it comes to the distribution and how stores get hold of their gear and selling it on, and how many people, you know, literal numbers are pre-ordering stuff. And I've got into a habit over my years of being a video gamer, although I'm only 21, of not really pre-ordering anything. Too many broken promises, shit versions coming out, delays, fucking games just not living up to their hype. That honestly, pre-ordering is kind of shit. I get that pre-ordering can help you to support a store, so I believe a lot of local game stores in the board gaming, tabletop, card gaming sphere rely upon pre-orders as a cash flow thing, which is, I don't know, to me that feels a bit, you probably don't want to be doing that, but I don't pre-order jack shit. And like I said, I don't feel like anyone's playing much physical paper Magic. So as long as these sets don't disappear into the aether, like I mentioned with Jumpstart, which is still a possibility, that these things do get released and we can still crack them, then hopefully it won't cause a weird dip in the economy of Magic, the ecology of Magic, where during pandemics period, those sets are just fucking expensive by comparison. But we know it's going to happen in the short term, as there's going to be less Zendikar Rising boxes floating around. As there's less of them floating around, they're going to be more expensive. Same way we saw Jumpstart see some price hikes. But like I said, we can still play on Arena, the premier way to play Magic now, the organised play way to play Magic is on Arena. People were playing Commander, I guess, via Spelltable, so new cards are still desirable. Like, I still want a Muxus for Commander, but Jumpstart boosters are more rare than a politician who's not full of shit in England. But the people that are going to be really hurting are the game stores. Like I said, some of these places probably rely cash flow wise on the pre-orders they're getting for these things, and they're not going to be able to actually fulfill the pre-orders that they've taken. People are saying anywhere from like they're getting 70 to 30% depending on who you are and where you are. The exact numbers I don't know because that's not an official thing Wizards of the Coast say, and I don't want to talk too much about hearsay. When I first wrote my notes, I didn't realise that actually someone like Card Kingdom, for example, had opened up and spoke about the exact numbers. So it's not hearsay and rumour now. Card Kingdom are saying in their first wave they're getting 50% of their pre-orders. That's Card Kingdom. So I can imagine other stores, especially smaller stores, might be a bit worse up, honestly, and that's kind of scary. So at that point, I'm going to pass off to you a little bit, and I'm going to ask, have you got your pre-order confirmed? Are you getting your stuff? Are you a store owner who this is actually fucking you up quite badly? And then, besides asking, because I'm genuinely, honestly, interested to hear what people have to say, because again, I'm going to put my hands up when I say I have a bit of ignorance around some of these things. I want to hear from the community, from the people on the ground who are buying and the people who are selling this stuff. But also, I do want to just say real quick before we move on to talk about the list, is if you're looking for somewhere to like point some anger and frustration at, I don't really think there is anyone. Yeah, it sucks that we're getting something delayed, and yeah, it sucks that there's more products coming out even though Wizards of the Coast haven't fulfilled previous Secret Lair commitments or Jumpstart itself actually getting access to it in places like here. And it looks like Zendikar Rising is going to do the same, and I don't think this will be the last set we have problems with. And that is frustrating because in some way, I guess the only thing we could see is Wizards of the Coast pull their foot off the gas a little bit and slow down with product releases. But this stuff was all scheduled well before the pandemic came in, and they have shareholders to appease. And that fucking be damned of the user base if they're not going to appease the shareholders. But with that said, I wouldn't really be that angry or frustrated at Wizards of the Coast, or at stores, or at anyone in particular. This is a byproduct of a global health crisis, a fucking pandemic that no one saw coming. So, if you're going to get shitty with someone on social media, or if you're going to ring up your store and give them shit for not fulfilling a pre-order, just consider that this is no one's actual fault. I mean, tell me in the comment section you think I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone's to blame here. It's shit, it's a bit shitty, but I think we will survive. Just remember that you're probably not playing any Paper Magic anyway, so you're not the one who's getting hurt here. Not like the stores are. And I know some people are going to say in the comment section, boo-hoo, who gives a fuck about the stores. These are the places that, if and when this pandemic is over, it's where you'll play your Magic. It's where you'll pick up your boxes that you're fucking pre-ordering from, right? Stores are important to this game and this community, so have a little heart for the independent store who's trying to sell this shit. Fuck the big business ones. I'm not saying you should bleeding hearts for fucking Amazon or whatever, although I bet they're getting all their orders fulfilled by Wizards of the Coast. I can bet you fucking money on that. But yeah, just have a heart for the independent store owner. And then we come to the list. What the fuck is the list? The list is a hype engine, a marketing gimmick to sell set boosters. The list is a 300 card strong, I'm using the word strong in inverted commas here, list of reprints that are available in one slot within the set booster. Now the set booster is not a booster of the next set. A set booster is a different variant of a booster from the next set. That's right, these terms, they might seem confusing, especially when we already have the reserve list, we have ban lists, and now we have the list. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, all of this, but basically you have your normal draft boosters that you draft with, you have theme boosters that no one gives a shit about, you have collector's boosters that have all your blingy bling things that are dragging the price down on foils, and I love it, and then there's these things, set boosters, which arguably, as much as collector boosters have that purpose of bringing down the price of foils, I don't really fucking like them. They're just, you don't get the value back for opening them, especially when it comes to VIP boosters with double masters unless you get lucky. Set boosters are somewhere in between draft and collector boosters. And they're a 12 card booster pack that costs you more than a normal draft booster and has a 300 card list of possible reprints from across Magic's history, including, but not limited to, cards like Scroll Rack, Full Art Planes from Unglued, and Unglued? I think it's Unglued, and Lightning Shooter and Food Chain. Highly desirable, expensive cards, seeing them reprinted anywhere is fantastic. The flip side is that you can also get a Alpha Kavu, an Aven Riftwatcher, even though I love it, Bone fucking Horde, or everyone's favourite emerge keyworded draft uncommon that people are telling me they play in decks, but I don't care. Lashweed fucking Lurker. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit, the disparity in quality of reprints in this slot. Now, I want to go on record as saying any space for reprints is good. That the fact that we're having more and more space to explore and to utilize reprints to bring down the price on staples and make formats accessible is fantastic. From Mystery Booster through to Master Sets, I fucking love that. So this is good for that, right? It's a good little extra place to put reprints, sure. And before we knew the full list, I was excited for set boosters and the list. Turns out that, firstly, this is a 12 card booster pack that costs more than a normal draft booster, so you're getting less cards for more money, and so it's not draftable either. And then you have a 1 in 4 chance, a 25% chance to get a card from the list, and the cards on the list are they're distributed in terms of rareness, in relation to their rareness. So you're more likely to get a common than anything else in the list slot, than an uncommon, than a rare, than a mythic. That's right, so if you want to get, I don't know, Scroll Rack or Food Chain, you gotta fight through all the commons you can get first. Cool. And don't get me wrong, there are some commons that are cool and they are desirable, like F&M promos and Game Day promos, or this very desirable card like Simian Spirit Guide, for example, a couple of dollar common that does need some reprints. But as you can tell from my tone and the faces I'm making, I don't think this is very good. And the reason for that is, why are there so many whiffs on this 300 card list? Why, for every fucking Scroll Rack, there's dozens of Anax hardened in the Forge, or other shit that no one wants? Why are there so many fucking duds on this list? What does that do? What does that serve as a purpose for anyone? It's just feel bads when you crack your pack and you finally get a list card and you're like, fuck, it's just a 6p common that A, was not desirable, B, wasn't needed, C, doesn't hold any value, and D, you will never play anywhere. In some ways, it's kind of like they're trying to make it more of a gamble again. The set boosters are designed to be cracked and not played with or drafted. They aren't game pieces like a draft booster is. So the gamble is there. You could open a Ren 6, a mythic that's desirable from a relatively limited run print set, or you can get a common that no one fucking wants. As one Twitter user, Castron Vi or Alexander, said, along with iterative analysis, a card that might have been fun if you could draft these. That's something I hadn't considered. These draft chaff pieces of shit that no one actually wants to open. For example, one of the early announced cards for the list was Cloud Goat Ranger, a card that I fucking love in Limited. I love this card, but why the hell would I want to open it in a collectible booster pack thing, other than it to be a dud that somehow heightens the strength of the endorphin hit from opening something worth money? And that's the problem. I just get more and more frustrated with things going towards more and more gambling. Like, this 300 card slot thing, even at 25% hit rate, could have just been 300 desirable cards. I mean, it didn't even have to be. It could have been 100 desirable cards. I guess what this does do, since it's only just occurred to me as I'm looking at this camera and talking and not off the notes that I've written, is that having a lot of duds means that they aren't using up their reprint equity. If they had 100 cards showing up in 25% of the packs, and they were always a good card, those cards would go down in value, right? And they wouldn't be expensive cards to help push and have chase rares and other sets. Giving us a lot of fucking duds means that there's other shit to fill out that slot. It's just chaff to help pad out the value of these expensive cards. It's almost like they're reprinting cards for the sake of reprinting cards, not for the sake of bringing down the cost of a staple, because they don't give a shit about that, because that's how they keep the packs desirable. Huh. Ultimately, I think the list is really fucking cool. It's just, I think the idea of it, the concept is really fucking cool. I think it's been implemented in a terrible way. Firstly, these boosters, these set boosters, if there's 12 cards instead of 15, or was it 14 in a modern booster? I always forget this, because of the ad card and shit like that, right? But either way, they should be draftable. I'm a weird subset, a niche thing, where I like to have a lot of sealed product around, so when there's no pandemic on, I can chaos draft with my friends, because chaos drafting is really, really fun. You can add these to chaos drafts, but you'll be 3 cards short, which will fuck the draft up a little bit. They should have just been draftable. I get that they aren't designed to be drafted, and I get there's a product out there that is designed to be drafted. So some people were arguing on Twitter that I'm missing the point, that you can just draft the other one. But my point is, why are you paying more money for an item that has less utility? I get that it has more collectible things here, more chances at rares and special things and promo art cards and signed promo art cards, because we baseball cards now, boys! I get that. But why does it have? Why leave out that utility when we could have that utility and still have the collectability? Or it's fucking bizarre. So they're charging you more for less, and then the reprints have the cool hype slot, which they've used to hype up the set. But they announced on Twitter with a fucking seizure-inducing, flashing, speed-rolling thing, which was dumb too, is actually a wet fart in the wind because half the cards are shit. Now, I don't always do this, but I'm going to tell you what I would have done differently. Because I'm not a product designer. I'm not part of some capitalist machine that's going to grind us up and snort us like a line of coke. What I would have done is I would have made the packs more dear than a normal pack, because the value they're essentially giving you, more rares and all that shit, right? Fuck it. Let's charge you plebeians at home a little bit more money. However, the pack is 15 cards, so if you're feeling flush with your friends, you could draft these. Oh, you could draft them. Do you remember drafting? Do you remember drafting? Drafting was fun. But wait, there's a slot in there. Not the token slot or the ad card slot or where the fuck it's taking up, but the slot at the back, which is a common, let's say. That common can be replaced with one of a 300 card list of cards. Let's make the drop rate 20% instead of 25. 1 in every 5 packs. Guaranteed 1 in every... Can we guarantee 1 in every 5 packs? Don't think we can do that. Legal? Legal? No, we can't do that. That was my fictional phone that I picked up there. So 20% of them have this slot, and all 300 cards are things that are currently over $10. They won't be by the time these come out. These will crash some of those prices, shit like that. Some of them will be highly more desirable than others. Stick a fucking food chain in there. But fuck putting cheap, shitty commons and uncommons we don't need in there, because what purpose does that serve other than to keep the reprint equity for further sets? Who gives a fuck? You print ridiculously overpowered cards in every other set anyway. You're generating new reprint equity that way. You don't need to keep old staples expensive by making them incredibly hard to open in your reprints. This is not a meaningful reprint of anything. It's kind of a waste of a cool opportunity. Also, I really want mystery boosters too. Give me more mystery boosters. They were sick. So that's the tea, sis. That's what the list is. That's the delays that have happened. The delays, I don't know how to feel about them other than I think people are more angry than they should be and should be expecting this stuff. And the list is a conceptually very cool idea that I think has been implemented quite poorly. I didn't want to say this. I was hyped for the list. I like the idea of opening up old cards, but here we are. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I'm panicking that I'm not going to get this intro in before my camera shuts off because I'm reaching the time limit. If you liked the video, hit the like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video with friends that might appreciate this as well. And like I always say, don't go hammering on at stores and the company making the games of delays and shit like this, especially this time where this is no one's actual fault. This is a pandemic that we knew would have this kind of effect. Look here, right? I'm still waiting for 2 boxes of Warhammer that are currently basically not been produced yet because they can't keep up with demand and their factories are stopped to make PPE. Woe is me! I need 1 more box of Alaris Terminators and 1 box of Custodian Guard, and I bought them and they still haven't been delivered. I'm the person who's hard up here! Smash that bell button, and I'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now.